The Dauntless, Harriet the Spy. Oh, now really, Midi Lien, don't you think that all the general hubbub is overdone? Surely the galaxy will move on soon. The well-dressed Tret states to her Apuk friend. Their little groups has been watching the events of the council meeting and chatting lightly. Oh, maybe, but it will at least be buzzing at the lower levels until such a time as all the sillier girls in galactic leadership have had their wake-up call. Midi-Leon replies as she takes a sip of the warm broth. Her cheery demeanor and sparkling eyes had long charmed the entire group, as did all the salacious gossip she had to bring. Did it matter that the young Apuk woman bucked nearly every stereotype of her species and was as non-confrontational and demure as they came? Despite that, she certainly looked like one of the more dangerous Apuk, which was ironic as she seemed to be nothing more than a petite and very well-dressed woman. It was the strange cultural attitudes of her people that made her stand out so much, despite blending in with the rest of the galaxy. She looked like a battle princess in her lovely dress, but had outright shrunken away from conflict. Then we'll never be rid of it. By the time we're halfway through all the goofier members of the council, the first half will be mostly replaced by even sillier women. A well-dressed Lopen woman states from her comfortable cushion on the floor. Sheer weight-wise, her dress was over 60% lace. I'm not sure if that's sadder or more amusing. Miti-Lean notes before she passes a tray to the Lopen's reach, and she takes a small cracker with a bit of meat off it. The larger woman doesn't so much eat it as just lick it and it's gone. Still, we shouldn't let ourselves get distracted, no matter the silliness of the so-called command class. Midi-Lean, please take the minutes. We do need to start discussing just what to do in order to keep the synthesization of false proton to a minimum. The Tret states. Oh, indeed, Midi-Lean states cheerfully. The galaxy has already been made much too small as is. We don't need it getting even easier to find and speak to people. All the different cultures running together and losing what makes them special. Disgraceful. The Lopen notes. Now, most of our members are trapped in their duties on the council, so pay special attention, Miti-Lean. They need clear notes. Don't you worry, I'm going to make extra special careful today, Miti-Lean states happily. Miti-Lean returns to her apartment and the first thing she does is teleporting to her actual home. Then the false horns come off, the contact lenses come out. The fake tail is removed and she heads into her bedroom to undress and get into something more practical. Harriet Dubious emerges in track pants and a sports bra, passing right by the small soldier sitting at the dining room table. Hello, half size. Hello, Agent. Good meeting? Private Stream answers. Very informative, but the report's going to need to wait a minute or three. I was with them most of the day and I couldn't eat or drink anywhere near enough without breaking cover. Not to mention everything I could eat was all meat-based. I need a salad and a whole pitcher of water. Oh, I'm not here for the report. I'm just the delivery boy. You've gotten more kits sent your way as requested. And you're still here because? Harriet asks as she grabs a pre-made salad out of her fridge and starts filling up a glass of water. Is there anything else you need? Information? Tools? Disguises? I'm good. Get lost, Shorty, she says, and the little agent visible seems to deflate before he seems to morosely stagger out of her apartment. He would almost look pitiable if he wasn't pushing it by playing sad piano music from his communicator as he went. Little drama king, that runt, Harriet mutters as she runs a hand over her head and it shifts from a golden blonde to a jet black and goes from bouncy and full to straight and silken looking. Such an easy technique, but so very useful. The salad is nice and crisp, but it's the water she needs more. The problem with being around a lot of the women of the galaxy is that their reduced needs means that both drinking and eating as much as she wants and going to the bathroom are far less of an option. It's odd for most aliens to go to the bathroom as much as a human, so she has to hold it. Often, It's often easier to just go without much to drink for the longer meetings, but the rest of the day is a trinity of shorter meetings. The salad is delicious and the light ranch she puts on it helps. It has more flavor than anything else she's eaten today, and she pops in an after-dinner mint in order to just luxuriate with something tasty in her mouth. A few more glasses of water and a couple more mints and it's back to work. A quick axiom effect to clean out her mouth and she slips back into the most important part of her disguises, scan-proof material. It comes up as all normal on most scanners and it hides the biggest giveaway of a human, the stomach acid and sheer chemical blast furnace that is their digestion. It's also all right against a knife and lies flat enough against her to hide under most of her disguises. In this case, a severe business suit. A pair of glasses with thick lenses and a harsh oval shape goes over her face as she binds up her hair in a tight bun. She's 1000% business and holds herself so tightly and so furiously that when she exits the apartment, people just get out of her way. She marches through the streets and steps onto public transport. The path she takes is winding and circles several spires. Before she walks into an office building and marches into a meeting room on the 4th floor down from the rooftop landing pad she was dropped off at. Enough, she states the moment she enters the room. She glares over the room, the glasses shifting the spectrum of light visibly in front of her, and she marches over to remove a listening bug from the underneath of the table and crush it in front of them all. The whole display certainly helps endear her to the other 4 women. They are each higher-ups in the organization, and while she had plenty of info on 3 of them, the 4th was maddeningly opaque. Are you all insipid or idiotic? What did I tell you when you assigned me to security? That we were to listen to your suggestions no matter how paranoid. Correct. And have you listened to those instructions? She demands. No. No what? She demands. No, Miss Harm. We have not. Then why on Centris are you still talking and spilling precious secrets? She demands in a furious tone. She visibly adjusts her glasses and glares around the room. She pulls out and destroys 3 more bugs before settling down. She has all the remnants in her purse and has crushed them all in such a way as to leave the memory chips undamaged. They are useful, after all. Very good. Now that our esteemed head of security has had her say, perhaps you 3 would care to officially start the meeting. The woman using a prosthetic body to attend states, her actual identity is something that Harriet is still digging into. She really wants to find the woman. The seemingly graceful body in shimmering gray and utterly lacking a face is just disconcerting to speak with. But we've already decided that. No, you fools chatted among yourselves. Now we speak properly. The leader begins. Fine. All in favor of keeping the same meeting location week to week? The first woman proposes. I vote aye. Aye. The woman she had been chatting with agrees. Nay, says the third, more quiet woman. Nay, says the leader. Nay, a predictable meeting place is an easily compromised meeting place, Harriet says in a tart tone of tightly controlled aggravation. She actually wants to lose a vote like this, but if she's on the leader's good side, she'll be given more time to actually get to the site. Not that there's many actual bugs around, but finding her own devices and breaking them in front of the others allowed her to maintain the importance of her position while having all sorts of information come in. Thankfully, her job was data retrieval and not data sorting. The poor bastards that comb through thousands upon thousands of hours of camera and audio feed without pause. As aggravating as parts of her job were, at times it was infinitely better than watching extended movies of nothing with maybe 3 seconds of useful data. If you're lucky, nope, field agent was far better. Even if she actually got sore facial muscles due to maintaining either scowls or smiles for so long. The meeting then starts going into smaller details, and the typical argument of where the next meeting will be held, if not here, is once again cut off by the leader slamming a synthetic hand into the table. I will personally inform you all of where the next meeting will take place. Now, to proper business, she states. What have you three done to take control of the upper orbital rings? I've gotten myself hired into Giagor Transportation, Lady Blank. Unfortunately, it's just mid-level. I'm going to need to bribe, blackmail, and other trifles to get up to the level of power where we can actually do something with it. Very well. Command the skies, Lady Psalm, Lady Blank states. Lady Psalm started as a mid-level manager in traffic control and was personally trying to up her station with this organization. The Sky Maidens were convinced that all of galactic society was dependent, utterly, on air transport, which, yes it was, but also it wasn't. There were so many other levers of power that yanking on just that one was only going to get your hand slapped away from the controls, and that was if you were lucky. The actual names were Frida Blanche, Amberly Sentry, and Mirabelle Pneumatic. Code names were Lady Psalm, Lady Choir, and Lady Chorus. Lady Blank was in charge and Miss Harm for security. It really. Before we continue, there is one thing we should address, Lady Blank states before turning to Miss Harm. You have persistently and continually fulfilled your contract in full. You have kept our secrets and are both driven and businesslike. While you have little interest in control, your fanatical devotion to fulfilling all contracts in their entirety has been noted. I believe it is time we regard you as you properly are Helen Harm. You are no mere miss, but a lady of duty. I trust the rest of the council has little in the way of objection. Nope, Psalm states. None whatsoever, Choir adds. If she learns to relax, maybe, Chorus suggests and receives a glare from Harm and slinks beneath the table a little. Never mind then. May as well ask Null to behave itself. Which is why she is so valuable to us. Now then, Lady Chorus, what have you uncovered from our potential rivals? Harriet shows nothing of her slight adulation at being led into the circle of these goofs. This was one of the more powerful conspiracies. They at least had a partially workable plan of action, so it was all the more important to keep tabs on them. Now, if she could only find a way to get a proper tracker onto Lady Blank's prosthetic body, at least that way they'd know where she goes to recharge it and where it's receiving one of its signals from that. From there, they would be able to track the next link in the chain. There were likely a few more. This prosthetic was too well made despite its disturbing features for anyone to just dismiss it or toss it out. Of course she could be wrong. Some people just had the money to throw away multi-million credit purchases, like the wrapper off a dime store piece of candy. Still, these women had blackmail and insider information on far too many transportation companies to be ignored. Not that she can do anything but listen, spy, and wait for an opportunity, which is the issue most have with these jobs, the waiting, the interminable, insufferable waiting. Yes, she hates it too. You don't pass undaunted training without getting at least a little adrenaline hungry.